how you doing this week, and also how you been doing the past few weeks? Since we haven't really talked Underdorks the past few weeks. Well, we have, but you know what I mean.
I've been good. We've just been trying to get through that dungeon. It's been cold as usual, and that's about all.
Hell yeah, I understand that it took a few weeks for you guys to get through this thing.
Yeah, there was a time where we could have talked about it, but then we were almost done, so it was like, fuck. And I did start talking about it. We got as far as explaining the first room
I
before.
think we kind of like. I know there was some point where we talked the dungeon. You kind of ran through the idea of the dungeon before we even started actually doing the dungeon. I know some of it was in this 9 minute conversation I'm gonna upload. Like I said, the bonus content where I'm starting to do like gaming chat for the channel. But I'm gonna throw that
Yeah.
in, and that was like 9 minutes of you kind of explaining the dungeon, and I think we got to the point where you talked the regeneration factor.
Oh no, we actually did the first room. I remember talking about the
Yeah,
first room.
well, I'm
So from
talking
that
about
point on, we had split up.
yeah, that's right. Well, I was talking about like setting the dungeon up to where we was just going to cover the full thing in total before
Oh,
we
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally misunderstood you. Yes, yes, I understand
What
what
we
you're
were planning, or you were planning the dungeon, and I was like, we were just speculating it is that's part of the conversation I'm uploading, and then I have our hour and what was it, like an hour and 40 minutes of just random gaming chat. I forget, it was over an hour.
saying. Yeah, we had a good chat. That was good.
I like that. I want to start. I would love to do regular gaming chats and then start bringing just random motherfuckers in. Like, hey, you like video games? Well, list a few things that you can talk about. Come on in. Because it's better than trying to, like, design a conversation that's more tailored
One
to a
second
certain
here.
discussion. You're fine. Oh, shit. I don't even have anything loaded. Let's get your stream up. Watch stream. And then, oh yeah, I pop it out. It's been a while. Full screen. Wait, no, not full screen. I'm fucking up. I'm
Sorry.
boomering it. You're
My kid
good.
was talking to me. That's why I went mute. Um,
I'm
yeah,
just
we got her
rambling
going
on
again. I'm
because
just
I'm trying
setting
to
it
get
up.
the stream set up. Is that gonna work?
There we go.
You're up and running. Let's see if I can get up and running. Ah, there we go.
That's basically where we left off last time.
Yep.
So they came through the middle room there. They fought those pillars, what weren't really pillars. They were actually special undead called a bone spur. There are a bunch of skulls around them. They have big scythe arms,
It
and
still
they
sounds like a
jumped up.
terrifying monster I do not want to encounter in real life.
And then there were a dozen skeletons that were sitting in all these pews, and they stood up when Shaw approached the altar. Then they got in that battle, and then they healed. They figured out that around this fire, about a 10-foot radius around the fire, they heal for maximum hit points when they heal there and rest there. And they also will heal ability point damage when they rest there too, as they'll find out. From that point on, first they hit this trap here, which they didn't realize what it was, but it was actually an alarm trap that let these two rooms know that there were people on the way. After that, some of them bypassed the alarm trap, some of them just hit it. They got down here. For some inexplicable reason, they fucking split up, which I love because it just shows that they're not experienced dungeoneers.
Two
It's almost like a
questions.
horror movie where people split up for some reason and you're like screaming at the TV screen. You're like, why'd you split up? That's kind of how I felt as the DM. I
I
was
was
like,
gonna
oh
bring
boy.
up like, are we continuing from when they were split up and everything? And
Yeah, that's exactly where we
just
left
remember it's
off.
been like 2 3 weeks. But all right, I'm
Yeah,
with you.
that's fine.
Oh fuck. Uh, side, taking a side step. This is going to go back into like the Tism basement things. But have you seen what's going on with Skull Kid?
Not at all.
All right, so on the Tism basement, we covered some guy he found that LARPs as a clown, but also like does these First Amendment audits where they fuck with police officers to see if they do their job. But they also dox people that troll them, and they dox people they find that break some rules. It's kind of like Remember Montegraph fucking with Medicare and how Monograph was like this conspiracy nut that fucked with other conspiracy nuts not on his side?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just someone who has to have people that only agree with him.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, except this guy will, like, I guess, dox and swat. He doesn't dox good at all, but he also, like, fucks with people's real life that, a monograph, but retarded. Because I say monograph was really smart with, because he did everything intentionally. His bizarreness was intentional. But this guy, he's just a sped, and Skull Kid doxed himself in the server, and then was like is just talking about like it's him and his buddy, what is it, Bird, but they're just fucking trolling this dude. And oh fuck, Tyree Sneed is okay. Hold on, actually, here's some information on the clown guy. He doxed Skull already, but got the wrong guy because Skull Kid gave his name up to everybody in the server because he was like, "Hey, here's my name. Let's see what they do." And that's exactly what happened is they got the wrong docs and are parading it around. But they also try to get people to click on their website to get their docs to scare them, kind of like I would say they probably blackmail people into tuning out. But Tyree Sneed is now doing movie nights.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he rapping during them badly? Do you still do that?
I think so. Oh yeah, actually, his last song I heard actually was not the.
Am I getting him mixed up?
No,
I don't.
you got Tyree right. He did the very nasally. Sounds like he's doing a country accent, but it's his ways he raps.
But the problem is, he actually has pretty good beats, and his raps would be real good if he
I
didn't, suck. So
And when we say good, we mean the standard of they are listenable by idiots, not anybody with real taste,
just
but they're still
shitty
listenable.
pop culture music.
Yeah. But he just does not know how to rap. Like the shit he says would sound good if he didn't try to do this. Swinger dinger dinger. If he didn't try to do that weird nasally country tone. But you know what I'm talking about. It's so bizarre.
That was spot on.
All right, but I just had to sidestep that because, you know, I'm probably gonna leave this in because this is still watched by people that watch the basement. But yeah, so Skull Kid is going after somebody that didn't like him going after him, and it's pretty weird. And it's also because he started fucking with Skull Kid's friend Bird first, doing the same thing, trolling him, getting doxxed and harassed. It's so weird that people still do that shit. Out of like some kind of moral standpoint, like I'm gonna dox you and swat you because I don't agree with you. It's weird.
People are just fags.
Yeah,
That's pretty much how it
they
is.
don't get made fun of enough, and then they become the people that they should be scared of behaving the way they do online. Mm. Oh, Daniel, God, there's so much drama. I can't be reading Discord. Sorry, I just wanted to know. I just wanted to see if you knew anything about what was going on with him about getting doxxed.
Nope, not at all. After I lost my last account, I haven't got an invite back to Skull Kid's thing, and it seems like every time Tism Basement's on, I'm doing something. I've tried to. You've seen me in chat a couple times, but it's just bad timing.
Yeah.
I'm not good at weekend streams anyway. Yeah. The group split up.
Yeah.
For some reason, Andromeda and Shaw went south, and for some other reason, Xander, Quick, and Sverg went north. This is roughly where they were at. This was about 4 weeks ago, real time. So it's a little foggy on this one. I might get a few details wrong, so I can hear you, Andromeda. I'm sorry if I got it wrong, all right? But I remember the gist of it, so that's what matters. The gist of it is as so. I know the amount of bad guys is right because I have all this shit written down. It's just going to be like the very specifics of the battle. So I'll remind everybody that Andromeda was standing right here on the opposite side of this door. And her impression was she was just holding it in case someone came through that door, she could jump them, but she had no intention of opening it. As he was very much role playing a female, because he expected Shaw to be able to read his fucking mind and know that he didn't want him to go through the door. Because in Shaw's mind, he saw Andromeda run by that door. And he's like, oh, we're going that way. So, and to his credit, a couple other people were like, yeah, I thought you were going through the door too. But anyway, he fucking ran south. runs through the door. On the other side of the door is a trap. It's a fireball trap. Ends up hitting him in Andromeda for a decent amount of damage each. I'm not going to say any specific numbers because no fucking way I'll get them right. It was a decent enough amount of damage that Andromeda was not impressed. And they're both pretty, they were wounded. I want to say it was double digits, but not super high double digits. Anyway, from there, Xander, Quick, and Zverg. Scene, they're all well lit up. Xander has his armor that he can make it light and take away the light at will. And then, was it Quick has Light of Lumia, which is like your whole body is like a torch, and you can expend the spell to do damage to undead, which I think is pretty cool. From that point, there was also 3 shadows that were coming out of the caskets. Again, they hit the alarm trap, so these all knew they were coming. They basically waited for them to get all the way to here. Shadows were going to swoop down here. Allops go up. The special attacks of the shadows is that they can drain strength. If you get drained to strength 0, you become a shadow yourself. The Allops drain wisdom, and if they drain you to 0 wisdom, you become an Allop as well. These monsters are also incorporeal. That means they're
I was
like
about to ask
ghosts.
what that
Like,
means.
yeah. So it basically means that the body is almost on a different plane, and they wink in and out of existence, I guess is the best way I could put it. I'm sure there's a better way to put it. But all you need to know is when you swing your sword at them, there's a 50% chance that it does absolutely nothing. It just harmlessly passes through. So they're pretty cool. I don't use them a lot because also the ability drain damage is fucking powerful in 3.5. The most ability points that you can have would be about 20 or 21, period, for any stat. So if there's only 20 points and a shadow does a d6 each, there's a good chance that they could roll a couple 6s, a 5, and a 4, and all of a sudden you're dead and you're a shadow. They have a much easier chance of killing you than just burning through hit points. Because the insubstantiability works both ways. Because when they go to hit you, they can't hit you for any physical damage. They can only drain your essence. So it
Isn't
takes them a
that
little while to whittle
worse?
you down, but they can. But they also ignore your armor
Yeah, I was
because
gonna say that
material
sounds
matter doesn't
worse.
matter. Yeah, it is. It's pretty bad. Did I just lose you?
No, sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah. The way I moved
So
sounded like you probably lost me because I was getting my charger for my phone.
no, I thought I heard a bloop bloop from you leaving the stream. Anyway,
Oh,
um,
that's probably my chair squeaking
Andromeda
in a weird
Shaw
way.
went south. He hit the trap and then he looked around. All of the skeletons were just sitting on the floor.
Oh wait,
But
what?
because they
Why were
knew
they
they were
on the
coming
floor?
after, they were just laying on. Remember, there's bones and bone debris everywhere.
That's right.
Skeleton and bones is the theme. So there's bone chips, bone
So you don't
shards. You
even
can actually
know what
barely see the
enemy is
ground.
there.
Yeah, exactly. It's camouflage, right?
Oh, fuck
So the
that noise.
serpents
That
here,
shit sucks when I play in zombie games. You don't know if they're dead or not, so you just walk by, and next thing you know, you have all of them around you, front of you, inside of you.
yeah, pretty much. And in this one, that's the same thing. They blend right in. In this case, the serpent here, I kind of explained them last time, so I won't go too in depth again. Serpentier
What?
are 2 skeleton torsos, skeleton head,
That's
skeleton
right.
arms with a backbone. The backbone is connected to another matching skeleton with torso,
It's
arms, and a
connected to
head.
the
And then
thigh
they
bone.
have rib bones, and the rib bones act like caterpillar legs.
Come on, dude.
And
Sounds like
that's
you're
how they
singing that
propel
song to
themselves
me.
around. It's fucking, they're cool, man. They're really
The
cool
hip
bad guy.
bone's
I
connected
very
to
much
the
like them.
leg bone. The leg bone's connected to my dick bone. Hey, literally, I thought you were about to make a bit out of that. That's why I started laughing. But it's good how you set that up, and you didn't even know. Even though that's exactly how you would have to describe it. So that's
Not pretty
pretty
much.
funny. So there's just
Okay,
bones
so
everywhere, shit exploding when they fight, and they're getting caught off guard. Split into 2 different groups because it's better to do it that way. Plus, they regenerate, so they have to figure out how to beat everything while also
they
avoiding
don't know
death.
they regenerate yet, though.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Don't
yeah,
forget
that's
that.
right.
They don't know.
We're catching
So
up from after the first dungeon session. That's right.
So
Okay.
now we are back to exactly where we left off last time. So moving on. I'm just going to skip through this as fast as I can. So the surprise round went off. The only one who was surprised was poor Xander. Zverg and Quick bailed the fuck out. Zverg made it to there. Quick made it to about there. Remember, this is all in one round. Quick is able to get further because he, A, moves faster than Zverg, and B has tumble, so he can just tumble over all the stuff. The Aleps and the Shadows, I think 3 of them go for like Shadow 1, Alep 1 and Alep 2 all go for Xander. Shadow 2 and 3 go for Zverg. From this point, that's their first round. Their first round is actually I'll do their whole battle to the point where they kind of meet up. So then Zverg and Quick, so that was the surprise round. So then their surprise round, actually I do have to do them because of the surprise rounds. So then in that surprise round, Shaw moves to here. Sorry, Shaw moves to here. There we go. He is then surrounded by the Serpentiers, who full well know that there's a trap there.
Are they like suicidal, or are they just trying to bait him? The Serpentiers.
They are surrounding him right now.
So, surrounding him by around a trap, so it makes his
So they
movements
surround
harder
him.
to.
Then around these skeleton or all these coffins, a dozen skeletons rise. So just regular run-of-the-mill skeletons rise up. So these guys are outnumbered eight to 1 because there's 2 of them and 16 of the rest. So yeah, bad odds for them numerically, but still skeletons aren't a huge deal. I'm not going to put out a dozen skeletons. Just picture in your mind that entire room basically fills up with skeletons. Shaw steps over there so that he's not on the trap anymore in case it goes off again. Andromeda holds the door.
I want to throw something out there. Uh-oh. Guys, I lost connection.
Shadow 1.
Hey. I just disconnected.
Out
can you
1
hear
and
me?
2. Xander. Yep.
I just disconnected for a few minutes. Not a few minutes, like 30 seconds. Discord's still doing the loading thing for me. I want to throw this out. We're going to have to rewind to, you said Shaw avoids the trap while he's being swarmed by 12 skeletons, but I wanted to throw this out
the skeletons just pop up. He's swarmed by the Serpentier.
I do want to say, before Discord may disconnect me again, I want to throw this out to the commenters or people that play D&D, is what is worse to be surrounded by, like 12 human enemies, like simple human enemies, or 12 skeletons? Because skeletons seem very weak. Yeah, I know, but like just overall, in general, like what would you say? 12 skeletons with swords would be equal to like 12 bandits with daggers because they're human, more able to move and smarter.
Well, they're smarter. They've got that on their side. But skeletons have durability because if you don't have a bludgeoning weapon, you can't hurt them effectively.
Oh, and I also
wanted to ask,
skeletons, like, are they all autonomous or do they have to be controlled by somebody?
They're autonomous inside of this place. They don't really have orders except to kill anybody who goes in the room. So that's
they
what
have
they're
like
doing.
a program. Okay, so they're like a beehive, just programmed defense.
Yeah, there's a boss to the dungeon who gave some orders. You'll find out.
What's going on, Discord?
So Shaw's surrounded by all the Serpentier. Serpentier are pretty cool monsters. Long story short, they get 4 attacks apiece. That's a lot of damage output. Shaw weathers the storm like a stud.
Shaw's like, they all come clutch. I can't even like gloat about Shaw because they all have had shining moments the past. I would say everyone had their shining moment the past 5 episodes.
So Shaw willingly steps back on the trap. Whoosh! Fireball goes off. Willingly. And he gets really good damage. And Andromeda fails to save. And they take half damage. So Andromeda's really pissed now, and they're both a little past half dead. Andromeda now moves out of range of the fireball.
Half Past Dead's a good movie if you've ever watched it. Steven Seagal.
From there, the Serpentiers all
he just fucking ignored
surround Shaw again while he's on the trap. All the skeletons also move up. So everything, Shaw's basically holding the whole door alone down here.
So
in the meantime, Xander finally gets Xander finally gets an attack or a turn because he missed the whole first turn. Yeah, he moves and suffers 3 attacks of opportunity because they can't stop him. He can literally run right through them. But they do get to swat him as he goes. He gets lucky. He manages to get all the way to there. In the meantime, Zverg books it out of the fucking room. All the way to there. Quick.
Leaving Quick behind?
No, Quick wants to hold the door to help Xander.
Oh, what a good guy.
The Aleps start floating through the wall. and through the floor. Remember that they can float through the floor and the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Xander gets surrounded. In this night, the player of Xander did not show up. There was just some shit went down. Not his fault. Life happens. Well, in that, I took over his character, and he almost dies in
Everything's
this
okay though,
encounter.
right?
Yeah, he almost dies. He in this turn here where he gets surrounded there, the Alps fucked him up a little bit at first. Now he got surrounded by three shadows, and it was like I couldn't not hit him. They still needed like a 20 to hit him. He has good AC because he doesn't
Yeah, he's
wear real
a
armor. He has his magic armor, and they can't pierce his magic armor.
he's a
He has a
tank
really good
damage
AC,
healer.
but I just kept fucking hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. So yeah, he got hit. He's really weak by this point. He can't even really fight back. He's lost almost 11 strength out of his fucking 14. So he's 3 away from death. In the meantime, Quick is fighting this Alps over here. And the other Alps going there towards Varric. Down here again, Andromeda moves up. Andromeda moves up again. Shaw, oops. What am I doing here?
He
Shaw
moved up
moves
and he
back.
went back.
He attacks a couple times before he goes and weakens the Serpentieres and moves back to there. And then Andromeda or him, oh, he throws his sap. He has a heavy sap. He throws that.
It's
I know a
it's
heavy
a
sap. It's a unique weapon. It doesn't even make sense. It's akin to a fucking brick in a pillowcase.
oh,
But
I
he
was gonna
wanted a
say, is it
giant
like
sap.
oil or
He
that
got a
oil
giant
slick?
sap. It's just like a meme weapon, but fuck, it's funny. But in this case, it's heavy enough to set off the trap.
Oh,
So
that's what I thought he was
throws
gonna
it.
try to stick him
It
to the
hits the
floor.
pressure plate. It goes off, wipes out 2 of the Serpentier, and then there's 2 left.
Oh hell
They're
yeah!
expecting the Serpentier to hit the pressure plate themselves. They do not, because they can climb. They crawl through the walls and over top of the trap, and all of a sudden they're in their face. In the meantime, Zverev says, "Look out," and shoots a fucking lightning bolt down the hallway, and it bounces back again. Now, uh, I'm skipping around in here because they were further back, and he had it worked out where the Serpentier were about here, and there were also skeletons filling this up. The actual skeletons are not heavy enough to set off the pressure plate. So the skeletons can walk over it. The Serpentier would have set it off, so they crawled over it, and they're coming down in Andromeda and Char like shit. Zverg tells everybody to get out of the way. Andromeda was the only one to go first. Andromeda runs around the corner. Zverg shoots a lightning bolt down the hallway. It bounces off the back hallway and comes back here and stops dead in front of Shaw.
Wait, hold
Now
on,
Shaw did
ricochet?
get hit.
You're
Shaw did
bullshitting.
get hit with friendly fire on the first time, and by this point he's got like maybe 11, 12 hit points left. He hasn't actually been damaged by any skeletons, and the
It's
Serpentier
just
only hit him twice.
so this
All of
is all
his
friendly
damage
fire.
has been from that fucking trap, and now his own ally. That's how bad Shaw
Shaw,
did it. He's still a
no.
stud. Yeah, it was pretty great. So now the Serpentiers are all dead. Skeletons, there's like 2 left. They're a negligible threat now. The real threat's from above. So Xander, even though so he got to move here and he attacked when he got here because the other 2 were attacking Sverg. When he attacked one, he almost killed it because he has smite and he strikes as a magic weapon. And I got lucky with his attacks for a couple of his
Wait,
attacks too.
smite hurts
Ends up,
undead or cursed folk.
and then plus Quick and Zverg also did contributing factors that I'm sorry, I just can't remember right now. And there's only 2 shadows left. From here, everybody retreats down the hallway.
That's smart.
Zverg goes here. Quick goes here.
I want to point out that it's
And
smart when you
Xander,
guys are full health. It's smart to split up when you're full health as a party because you can get more done. You can take aggro, or that's an MMO term, aggro, aggression, enemies coming at you. You can separate that from the other party so everyone can divide their strengths and weaknesses. And then when everyone's losing health, it's smart to group up because now you're pooling all your resources together. You guys are close to dead, so now you guys need one super, that's how I see it. You group together when you're low health so you guys can pool your limited resources now and then stand out because you guys done enough damage. That's how I see a tactic working well in D&D. Splitting up and then getting together and pulling your, like, everyone has 10 HP type shit out of 50.
they're not. they're not remotely out of the woods. Like by
Well,
this
I know,
point,
but you
many
see
of
the
them have
tactic,
been. It
the
was not
logic in
smart to
it.
split up. That's my take on it.
Well,
Another
when you add
somehow
their
another
dungeon
skeleton.
and the regeneration effect, yeah, splitting up is not smart because of regen effect. But in just
There's no
normal,
regen effect. No, they have healing magic, and then when they sleep by the fire
no, I'm
and they
talking about
use
the
spells.
enemies that has the regen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, again, they don't know this though,
Yeah,
and they don't have
I'm saying
regeneration
it's
to
not
come
smart
back.
to split up when there's regenerating enemies, just because like they could do damage to you, and then now you have to get back together, as I said in your tactic, to pull your resources while they're at full health. But any other circumstance, it's smart because once you do your damage, they're obviously damaged, and once you get damaged, you're damaged, and you guys have to figure out a way to heal. But adding regeneration to that, it's not a smart idea to split. I keep
So we
forgetting
end
that.
that session in about this position. I remember this position because this is the position we came back to when Xander got there.
So they
Um,
got
this
together
is
and then
not the
went back up
final
to the
position.
north. Okay.
So from here, what they were trying to do is get Xander to safety. Xander, and I just want
He
to
is a
point this
key
out because
member
it's pretty
now.
cool to see. So basically, they end up shuffling Xander through each one of their spots, giving up their turns and using their initiatives to shuffle him back each turn so that he ends up all the way around the corner. Shaw manages to get from way down here all the way to the front, quick runs and
Isn't Shaw
makes
really
himself
hurt?
into a target by going through everybody and tumbling and trying to draw the shadow's attention.
I'm
And then
anxious.
Andromeda stays there and Sverig stays there. Andromeda does go to move up, but she does it. So that session ended about there, somewhere around something like this at orientation. And then Xander was there for this point on. So you got to find out that he almost died. He ended up only having 1 point. I didn't fudge any of the rolls. Although I'm giving my word I would have never killed him. I'd have just
I
stopped it at
know.
1
Well,
anyway.
we've
But
discussed this
it
quite a few
naturally landed
times.
at 1. And he ends up, we tell him, you got to book it back to the fire so that at least they won't follow you there because he hasn't attacked them in the last few rounds. They're aggroed right there. So Quick tumbled out here and tries to draw them off. It's successful.
Yes.
And the hard part about this is that all of these things are now just attacking out of the walls. You can't hit their full body, so they're getting cover because all the characters can attack is the arms and the odd head or shoulder that comes out as they go and sweep to try and attack them. So Shaw ends up being the stud on this one, ends up killing quite a few, but it was the combined efforts of all of them that kill off the shadow, and the other ally.
Yeah,
So
but
that's all the bad guys. It was a damn good battle. At the
I
end
want
of
to
it all,
ask.
the one who got the worst off was Xander, and everyone else was fairly damaged that they had to do it. I think Quick ended up the best at
Well, I
everybody
was
with the
going to
least amount.
ask. Quick is out there in the room alone. I was going to ask how, like, what is he looking like? How is he faring? Because Quick is
He's faring,
a damage dealing motherfucker. So, like, he can obviously take some damage, but he's
but he
also
doesn't
not the
have a magic
tank.
weapon.
Yeah, I
He
was gonna say he's
doesn't
not the
have a
tank
magic
or has
weapon in
that
this.
safety.
So he was feeling really, really useless. So that's why he was trying to draw attention away from Xander by putting himself out there.
See, that's a
Because they
tank
weren't
thing to do.
inclined to attack him because he has such a high AC. Because, like I said, they ignore armor. And he's very dexterous. And he
Yes.
has class
That
abilities that make him hard to hit. So it was perfect for him to try and pull away attacks.
okay, that makes sense why he would go out there other than preserving his buddy. Okay, so there is a character utility behind it. So I was trying to figure out why the fuck would he be the one stepping out in the room? Should be like Shaw or Zverg.
Shaw started there. Shaw was a fucking murderous beast. He ended up
I know
killing most of
he
them.
took the. I think he took like the actual the brunt of the attack, while Quick was dealing with enemies looking at him and not looking at him, so he still had a little bit of protection because they were trying to get out the room still.
They couldn't really hit Shaw much either.
Yeah.
So from
Ooh,
there,
the
they
Kyle Rittenhouse
are
video
very
did
hurt
100
and
views.
they retreat back to where the camp would be. So everybody goes there. So like I said, Quick was the best off out of everyone. Everyone else had to fucking heal.
Yeah.
Between hit points and ability drain, they were in rough shape for splitting up.
There's no boss in
And
that
it
room
was weird.
anymore.
No,
Wasn't.
so they don't know yet. Keep
Oh,
skipping
okay.
ahead. They
Sorry.
don't know
Yeah,
that it
sorry.
regenerates yet. I'm trying to get to that. So they
Sorry.
don't know it
I
regenerates,
keep
like we
treating it
talked
like an
about.
MMO. I'm sorry, man. Like I look at the rooms
They
and I say
literally
this
have
is an
no
event.
idea.
This map feels
So
so familiar to me. I'm sorry. I keep reverting back to MMO brain.
so Quick is the only one who doesn't need to rest. They end up having three.
Damn, that's good.
They have three rest periods before reinforcements arrive. And again, the
How
whole
long's
point of this
rest
is
period?
to have what?
How long is the rest period? Like 8 hours?
8 hours.
Okay.
So they have 3 8-hour rest periods because they
Holy
have 24
fuck.
hours before the guy comes here. All this stuff that just happened took about 15 minutes tops. So now
Seriously?
they have to rest for 16 hours for 15 minutes of fighting.
Holy
So
shit.
they all rest here, Quick at the front here. When midnight strikes on the second rest period, I tell Quick that he sees the following. And then
Uh-oh.
I describe all the skeletons that they killed, reanimating themselves, going and sitting in the pews like they were when they got
Dude.
there. There were a dozen skeletons sitting there and just sitting. And I say, you see all of them come back. He asks about the bone spurs. I say, nope, the bone spurs do not come back.
What is his
So then they're like,
reaction?
really? So from this point on, I'm not going to move the guys around. They first want to check the bottom room. So they go and check the bottom room, avoiding the trap because they remembered
Room
there was a
B?
chest in there. So they go into the bottom room. They kill the champions here, which were the Serpentier, but they didn't know about the skeletons. But they had an idea by this point, right?
Yeah.
So sure as shit, they get to here. The skeletons spring. They kill the skeletons. It wasn't hard for them, but the point was that they're mob creatures that expend a few little things here and there. So they do use up a couple use charges per day of what they have to get through it, like a Zverg uses a spell.
Oh,
Like
that
the point is to
sucks,
get them
though.
to use stuff. They kill off the dozen
You're
skeletons
gonna
and they
make them
get
burn
their
off their shit
thousand.
before they fight the boss.
Then they take the 1,000 gold or so each out of the chest and make their way again, avoiding the trap, out of that room and back into this room.
Ooh.
In this room, this time they manage to take the shadows unaware because they all avoid the alarm trap, and the shadows respawn, and they're new shadows, so they don't know about the alarm trap. So the shadows are spawning and they're doing their thing, cruising around the room. So they peek their head in there, figure out that the shadows aren't where they were last time, and they rush the shadows. That's where that second session ended. So now we're into the third session.
Okay,
From
so they
here,
rested and then they attacked the respawning enemies. I wanted to point out, not point out, ask, what was all their reaction when they found out? Oh shit, we're dealing with regeneration.
they were genuinely,
Surprised?
yeah, I think I got them by surprise. I don't think
That's
they ever
good.
saw that.
See, when you told me that in that discussion we had, I was like, this is so much like an MMO, but is also not like a mechanic you hear about often in D&D. And I love that. Like, it really blends something I'm very familiar with. And I know how off-putting it is when I'm fighting a boss. I get through 3 phases and I find out, oh, it's still phase 1. It's just he regenerated 3 times. And you're like, fuck. Now you have to deal with regenerating mobs and all that shit. Like, so I personally have felt crushed when I figured out I have to now do a puzzle. So like, I can only imagine how they felt. And just picturing like if it actually popped up into a party's face, just picture their real reactions if they were actually out dungeoneering and seeing this shit. I like it. You really set it up nicely. I really love how I can find this very familiar, but also experience the D&D dungeon that's because it's new to me.
Well, they rest. Quick sees that. They avoid the skeletons in this room when they went around, so they're still sitting in their pews because they figured
Oh,
out
they
it
just
was
walked around
approaching
them?
the altar. Yeah, they just left them there. So they walked
Oh,
around them, left them there, jumped
that
over
doesn't sound like
this,
a smart
explored that
idea.
room, and then as a group they go here. They rush the shadows. We're on the fourth session now in this dungeon, and they kill the shadows, but it still takes like most of that night,
Yeah, because
and
it's
they
a
get
combat.
to it's still shadows, and yeah, they didn't want to get hit, and they do end up taking a little bit of ability damage. But now that they know that there's shadows with ability damage, they had a couple spells ready to go. So where this door is concerned, this door has no hinges. It's been mortared into there, and it has a
Oh,
magical lock. It has a giant
oh,
T on it, like
that,
the letter T for Texas,
that
and it
fucking
glows
sucks.
red, just like the one that goes around there. There is no door handle.
Oh shit! It reminds me of playing Elder Scrolls and coming across those warded doors. Like it's just stone doors in
Yeah, that's what it
dungeons.
is. Yeah,
Oh,
that's pretty much it.
fuck
So they
off!
don't know how to open it. I allow Zverg to do a spellcraft check, and I tell him it's magic that's opening it, or keeping it closed. So he says, "Can I use Dispel Magic?" This is not something I had actually considered when I made the door. I figured they'd smash it down. That would be their best bet. They'd figure out that it's just mortared into the walls and they'd smash through like the fucking Kool-Aid man, and there you go. But they don't do that. Instead, Zverg fucking uses his character well, says, I want to dispel the magic, which is totally legit. So I say, okay, but you got to get a 21. 21 is his target number. He is a level 6 caster for the spell that he's casting, so he needs 15 or up
How much
on it.
HP would a level 6 have? Like 50?
If they were a normal spellcaster, they'd have about maybe 30 to 40 hit points.
Oh, that's
Zverev
not
has
high at
80.
all. Oh, okay, that's really high.
Zverev has a huge con. So he has 80 hit points at this point. Anyway, he stands before the door. He has to get 15 on the dice. They end up using almost every single nightly reroll they
Oh,
have on
shit.
getting through that fucking door.
That
Like he
sucks.
just couldn't seem to roll. Well, it's 15 too, right? 15 on
Yeah,
D20. Not the
but
easiest thing to get.
Zverev usually
He
roll
makes his
hits.
way through most of the nightlies and he gets it.
He usually
So
lands his
finally,
rolls. That's surprising.
yeah, he's usually pretty good rolling. So they dispel it, and the door basically just goes and opens up a little bit. All the magic that holds it shut is gone. So from here,
It's just a
he
creaky ass
decides
door.
to go first. So Zver goes invisible and makes his
Smart
way
move.
through the door to about here.
Ooh, that's nice because you can see and
Or
still
sorry,
have
no, not
cover.
there. My bad. So Zverg makes his way through the door, invisible, all the way to there. My
What
bad.
the fuck, Zverg? That is too ballsy. That is too much.
He is
What the
super
fuck?
ballsy in this because I know it's in that room. I'm like, you crazy motherfucker.
Yeah,
So
what,
next through
what are you
is
doing? It's a warded door. You
so
know
he
something
needs
bad's
light
behind
though,
it.
right? So Zverev can't see in the light. He needs extra light, and then he has low light vision. It doubles the normal light, but he still needs light to go in there.
Yeah.
So the rest of the group has to go in. So Shaw, stud muffin that he is,
Shout
elects to
out
go
Shaw.
first. So he just steps through the door. Believe he gets to about there.
And it gets
Quick.
shot in the knee.
Next. Then we got Xander
Fucking
and
Zverg, dude.
Andromeda.
It's fucking
Bringing up the rim.
Zverg.
They get to there. They are fighting a bone devil. A
Oh, what
bone
is that?
devil is an actual devil, so it's not actually undead. It is a demon
I'm
from
gonna put this
hell,
shit up on
but it is
screen.
a bone devil, just like I said. Like it's still a devil. The large creature. If you were to Google it, you just say D&D 3.5 bone devil. You can see what it is. It
Holy
sounds like what
fuck!
it is.
This
It's
looks like
a
a
white
Yu-Gi-Oh.
skeleton devil. That's
Oh,
all
hold
it
on,
is. So
guys.
if you
Let's.
can picture a pointy-eared devil in your mind, like every fucking devil you've ever seen in your life, like like the stereotype, and then just take its skeleton, that's what a bone devil is.
This looks
The
like a
cool parts
blue
of the bone
eyes
devil is
white
it's got a few
dragon.
built-in spells. It's got poison, and the poison
What?
will actually kill you.
That's
Like
OP.
poison
That's too
poison
OP.
does fortitude damage, so it does ability point damage, but it's still a poison, not an ability drain. He has to hit you
So
with the
this is
tail.
like a
So,
dragon
or sorry, there's one other
insect.
caveat. This skeleton has a scorpion stinger for a tail.
I
Other than
see.
that, it's a
Yeah, this
fucking.
singer is huge. This thing's OP. It's cheating. It's fuck that.
But well, he goes there. So the Bone Devil did not know they were there. So I did not allow him to have any spells in place, and I did not allow him to have any summoned creatures in place because he was part of the alarm as well. But they would have never got to him in the shape they were in.
Yeah.
He only lasted for 5 rounds.
Who? Wait,
It
which
was
one is it? Sorry.
fucking incredible. So he charges in,
That's a
charges and
good
stops,
BD. I love
goes
that.
and hits Shaw, not bad. Shaw gets in there.
You
Xander
don't want to
fucking
fuck
gets
with
in
Shaw.
there.
You don't want to fuck with any of these
Motherfucking Quick
guys.
gets in there with his 10-foot reach from his choker sleeve. Andromeda's in there. Andromeda summons wolves left, right, and center of him. So he's got 3 wolves
Andromeda, yep.
summoned. Now the bone devil is completely fucking
And
surrounded.
probably
They realize
confused.
that he's not undead, so Shaw can't do the most damage. It's Xander who comes
Oh,
through
yeah,
with his
that's right. His
fucking. He's
holiness.
a paladin. He can smite evil. So he goes through.
Yes.
He smites it a couple times. Quick's hitting him with all his best attacks. Andromeda. So the first one he charges in, he gets 1 attack. Then the next turn that he goes, the fucking wolf managed to get a 20 because Quick has a
What?
spell that gives everyone else +4 to hit. So these little piddly ass wolves get a hold of this thing, manage to trip it.
A
So
fucking
it gets
minion.
tripped on the ground. Now everyone else gets another +4 to hit it because you get +4 to hit someone on the ground. So you're hitting a
Oh, fuck.
+8 bonus. They fucking murdered them on that. And they have damage reduction to
They
go against the
five
boot, but
rounds. They
because they were
murder this
all hitting him,
boss.
I'm not done yet. So yeah,
Oh.
they do all that in like the first 2 rounds when he gets tripped. Then he stands up. He manages to hit Shaw and poison Shaw. So now Shaw's taken a D6 of con damage,
Oh
which lowers
shit.
his overall hit point total,
Yeah.
and it also lowers him. So
Oh
he's
Shaw.
actually got hurt by that because Poison has a secondary effect, so it's 1d6 first time, 2d6 the second time.
Why?
So it's a slow acting killer. So he's like, oh shit, and he can feel this virulent poison going through his body. So now
Yeah.
it's like, we got to kill this thing quickly. And in comes Varg. So they've been whittling him down for 4 rounds. Fifth round comes. Remember, he ran right by Varg because Varg's invisible.
Yeah.
Varg,
That's
this
right.
whole time, has been waiting to go. He is visible when he ran by because he did cast a couple. I think he cast a lightning bolt. Yeah, he cast a lightning bolt down there that just misses Andromeda. And again, Shaw, poor bastard, gets hit by friendly fire, but he handles it like a man and it bounces through there. But the Bone Devil has magic resistance. Zverg used 3 spells against him. Only 2 actually works because spell resistance is like armor against spells, and you have to roll against it. And Zverg needed 15. Remember that +6, that 15 he needed to roll? He needed to
Yeah.
roll 15s to beat this thing too. So he was at
But
a
how
severe
many night
disadvantage.
did he? Oh yeah,
So
he ran
Zverg
a lot
comes
of
in
night
there,
rolls.
touches the Bone Devil, and fucking doesn't make it. It was such a
Oh.
heroic thing for him to go into combat like that and just want to touch this thing. It doesn't work. At the end of the day, everybody, the other 4, Shaw, Quick, Andromeda, and Xander, just
Sverg.
use all their fucking might to put this Bone Devil on the ground. And I was worried about this fight. I was genuinely worried
Well,
because he
Sverg
had
just
damage
walked in
reduction
like
against
balls
magic
out.
weapons. Well, they don't have a lot of magic weapons, but Andromeda surprised me. She had this spell called Mass Magic Fang that gave all of her wolves magic weapon abilities. So now the wolves were chipping away at it too. And he was tripped, so he lost an entire round of attacks there. He dedicated 2 entire full rounds to attacking Shaw, who has a good AC, and he didn't hit him every time because I rolled like trash. And he dedicated 1 round to hitting Xander, who again I couldn't really hit that hard. Quick was sneak attacking him because he can't sneak attack undead, but he can sure sneak attack bone devils. So he was jacked that he actually got to use his sneak attack damage. So then all of a sudden, Quick's doing even more DPS, and yeah, they just burned through him in 5 rounds. It was fucking awesome. However, they didn't get like away unscathed. Like the fucking some of them took damage too from him. Like I said, Shaw was in rough shape. So that was the end of that session. That session ended with Shaw fucking running as fast as his ass could run him back to the safe zone so that he could heal himself within the confines of the max healing with his
Sverg got kicked in
ability
the
point
dick pretty
damage
hard.
because he had to heal himself back to max and then he would take those 2d6 and then at least he would fucking survive the 2d6. So he did all of
Oh
that.
yeah, he had to do that before the
Yeah,
secondary
he was in
effect.
danger. So at the end of both of those types of encounters,
Oh
because at the end
shit.
of the first, Xander was almost dead, right? He had 1 ability point left.
Yeah,
And at the end of this
Xander.
one, fucking Shaw was like, I could have rolled 12 on those 2d6, and then he would have been kaput, like dead. So yeah, it was very, very good encounters overall.
Dude, this is
They
intense.
decide to use their very last rest period before they encounter the boss. I tell them at the end of this little hallway here in the pitch black that they had to bring a torch closer to
Yeah.
see. They see
Door
another one of those
E.
magical doors. So Zverg already knows how he has to get through it. But he's not looking forward to it because this means he has to roll fucking 15 again.
Oh yeah, and they used all their nightly rolls, right? Or is this a new session?
So that was that session. So he was like, I
Okay.
don't have any rerolls to do it again. But it was the end of the
Damn.
night for that one anyway. So it was a new
Okay.
session.
So they can
So the
wait.
session I'm about to describe is the last one that we just played here a couple days ago.
Oh fuck, dude. My heart's racing, bro. I'm hitting my
Oh,
pin.
yeah, they've been doing quite well, but yeah, everything's been pretty skin of
Intense.
the teeth. A couple, but in each one, there's been 1 or 2 members who haven't really been touched at all. So I like that. Like, but I'd like all of them
It's
to take a beating
realistic
at
though in
some
a
point.
fight.
Yes, exactly. So the Skull Lord. So if you could Google Skull Lord Monstrous Compendium 5, 3.5th edition,
All right, let's see
you
what
will
this
see
is.
a 3-headed skull with very nice noble
Say that
robes on
again.
them and a bone staff. The staff is basically a backbone
What is
with
the
a
name again?
skull's head at each end. Obviously, skulls are the motif of this joint.
What is it called
They're
again? A
meta.
skull something?
Skull Lord.
Skull Lord. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna. Oh shit! I'm gonna drag this to screen, and I'm gonna turn on display capture. I'm not streaming. You're not gonna see it on stream, but I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, that's fine. I
All
know
right.
what it looks like.
I know. I figured. Holy shit! This is like the evil version. This would be the avatar I would use if I was trying to be like a evil person.
necromancer, right? Looks like a great
Yeah, it
necromancer.
has like 3 skulls on its head.
Yeah. So those 3 skulls mean he can get more actions in a round,
Oh, it's
but
bullshit.
that's not like exactly what it is. It's more like the more skulls he has, the more swift actions he gets to choose between. And a swift action is basically like a free action. So if he has
Okay.
all of his heads, he gets a certain amount of powers. If he only has 2 heads, he gets a certain amount of powers. But he can still only do 3 things in one round, like anyone else can. So anyway, we start the night anew. Sverg knows exactly what he has to do, so he walks up to that fucking door. They know that if they can catch this guy off guard, it's going to help out because they know that this is a boss. I just straight up told them, like, this is the end of the dungeon, last
Yeah.
room. And then I showed them the map that I printed out because I've just been drawing them until now because I have this
Hey, you
whiteboard
don't
and I've
want to
just
give
been
him an
drawing it on the
advantage.
whiteboard as they go. Sorry?
I said you don't want to give them an advantage, but also
So
it's
what was
kind
that?
of I said you don't want to give them an advantage. Am I cutting out?
Sark? You there?
Uh-oh. I might be cutting out.
Oh, sorry. Might be my internet. The winter hasn't been nice to it.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm all green too.
It,
So
it was green for me, but I figured I'd try my mic. But I was gonna say, it's good that you didn't give them the dungeon beforehand because they can kind of plan or learn to expect something and play differently. But also, it's you don't know the dungeon layout when you go into it, so you drawing it is like them traveling it in real time. I like that. It's immersive, even if
it's
it's
like
low
fog of
tech.
war.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah, fog
best
of
I can do
war.
for low tech fog of war. And it's been working really well. The only battle where I've truly wanted to have the grid was the battle that I'm about to describe. That's the
Okay.
first time I've really wanted to have a grid so far because it was a little bit technical where everyone was, but everybody rolled with it really well. Like I've been impressed with the boys. They've been really used to having grids and they
Yeah.
enjoy moving their own
It
dudes
makes them
around
use
the
their
grid back when we used
imagination.
miniatures. Well, we used to use miniatures, right? So it was fun to be a little more interactive by moving your dude around. But even they admit that it was more work to set everything up than to
Yeah.
actually play. We're just knocking shit out of the park every time we
Well, you
play.
guys are being
Like
more
four
creative and
sessions to go through all
imaginative.
these rooms, or sorry, 5 sessions to go through all these rooms is pretty damn good in my opinion.
Hell
That's a
yeah.
session per room, which is the way it should be.
And they can get back to
Anywho,
living their real world. Well, not real world, but they can get back to running their pot farms and getting their retirement shit ready after this. It's quick,
yeah,
but it's also
and that's
taking up
what
time.
we actually discussed that last night or the
I
other night
can't
too,
wait
which
to
is
see
great.
them explore the world.
Oh, they're not doing that. There's a new plan. I'll
Ah,
describe it. Anyway,
okay.
getting ahead of ourselves. Zverev at the same door, T on it, knows it has to be dispelled. Fucking rolls his check, fails it.
Oh,
Uses a nightly, gets it. So they were like, yay, we have to go through every fucking nightly again. So that was pretty great. So he gets it second try. The magic's dispelled. The door creaks open, just like last time, and he goes invisible. Ballsy motherfucker he is. I'll punish
again?
him for it one day, but
Yeah,
there's
you
been no
should.
use yet.
He's
He goes to about there.
he's walking in like he knows what's going to happen.
Guess who goes to the door next?
Xander.
Nope. Shaw.
Oh, Shaw. Okay. So
Usually Shaw,
Sverg, then
right? Shaw's
Shaw.
usually the first one in.
Well, you were the way it seemed like the question was phrased. It was like something unexpected, not something I would expect. Shout out
Yeah.
to Shaw though.
So they see that there's a pillar, and I'm like, this is just an ordinary skeleton pillar with big
Okay.
scythe blades
Or
on it. And they're like,
ordinary.
yeah,
Oh, wait,
sure. What
scythe
are you
blades?
talking about? Because they've already fought it, right? So I'm just gonna have fun with it.
Oh,
So
okay.
they see the two bone scythe or the bone pillar guys right
What a
there,
dick.
and then oh, he's just having fun. So and then
Okay.
the bone lord himself in the middle. So the bone lord is meditating, trying to summon the power to summon more undead, whatever it is fucking skull lords do. The point is they get him off guard while he's meditating or doing something where he's not paying attention to them.
Fucking
So
Bone
Varric
Lord.
manages to sneak through there. Shaw comes in next, and Shaw, being Shaw, is like, fuck it, undead,
Boo
let's
boo.
rumble. Runs on in there,
Shaw
and
will
you'd think
kill the
he'd go
guy
for
by
the Bone
himself.
Lord, right? You're like,
Yeah.
he's gonna go for the Bone Lord. Nah, he goes for the fucking Bone Shard.
What is he doing?
Kills
Taking
the thing in
MMO?
one fucking attack. Boom! Charges it. Fucking toasts it.
Does he
Next to the
expect
door.
that to be the power behind the Bone Lord?
It was more he felt like he could take out the fodder better.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense. That's something like an
Quick.
MMO would do. You go in and kill the lieutenants because they may be the thing that gives the boss power and protection. You know, it's usually something like that. It's like they don't exist without him, so therefore, like you got to kill them to weaken him.
So they all move to about the approximate locations there. Shaw
Okay, so
attacks that one and
quick in
goes.
the upper corner. Andromeda in the doorway summoning shit because Andromeda's cool.
Bone Lord manages to go before everybody, moves back, summons a dozen skeletons. He
Oh,
completely surrounds
oh,
Xander with skeletons, or sorry, completely surrounds Shaw with skeletons
oh
and gets
shit,
most of Xander.
oh shit.
From there, quick, and then the Bone Spur also charges. Whoops, Bone Spur also charges Xander. So Xander has skeleton, 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 all skeletons around Shaw. Shaw goes. He attacks four of the skeletons because he attacks with two weapons, and he can attack two times now. So he gets four attacks standing still. It's pretty fucking sexy. Unfortunately for him, he one of his weapons is a slashing weapon,
Oh
so
shit.
it gets damage reduction from the skeletons. So he only kills one skeleton, but that's all he needed was to kill one. Makes his way through, says fuck it to the attacks from the skeletons. So there is
Shaw.
one huge caveat to the other night. I have to brag because I've never done it in my life. I rolled 9 20s. That's right.
What the fuck?
9 fucking 20s. Not only did I roll 9 20s, I rolled 2 20s back to back 2 times in a row,
Oh
but
shit.
not four in a row. So
That's right.
basically,
You
I'd
was
roll
telling me you hit
20,
some
got a
numbers.
20. Then the next time I attacked, I got a 19 or an 18. I was on fire. And then after that, I rolled a
Too
20
bad
and
you're
then
the
another 20
DM.
back to it. And this happened to Shaw and Xander consecutively. So Shaw actually got hit by a fucking measly skeleton for a double crit.
That
Ended
sucks,
up doing
dude.
11 to him. Then he
Oh
ends up
fuck.
moving right up into the Bone Lord's grill. He just basically circumvented the skeletons, took all the free attacks that they
And
got on
kill
him
you
like a
kill the
stud,
Bone Lord, the
and did it.
skeletons. Yeah.
Xander, Xander ended there, then he moved here. Then he got surrounded. Sorry, my bad. Anyway, he got there. He's surrounded with skeletons. He's attacking a few of them. The Bone Spur's attacking him. Quick moves from here and manages to shoot a line of flame that wipes out or weakens almost all the skeletons.
Yeah,
In
that's
time for
good.
Xander to start beating the shit out of all the skeletons one by one.
Shout out Xander.
Yep, Shaw beats the piss out of the fucking Bone Lord. In the
Just
meantime,
bare knuckle brawl.
Bone
Pow,
Lord has
pow,
been
pow.
doing quite well. He's been doing more. He has a spell where he can rip out your bones and
Oh,
then
that
heal
sounds
himself with them.
terrifying. That sounds
Yeah, he
fucking
basically
terrifying.
makes your own bones splinter, rips them out through your skin, and then he can either create
Oh,
undead with them or he can heal undead or himself.
that
So I
fucking
use them.
sucks.
I've been trying to use it, but they keep making their saving throws. From there, he does a wall of fire straight across. So there's a wall of fire right across, right in front of
Whoosh.
Andromeda. It hurts Andromeda, and then Andromeda realizes she can't see through the fucking fire. So,
Especially in
like
that
some sort
doorway.
of fucking god, she just walks through the wall of fire. Ends up taking almost 20 something points of damage doing it
Of
from the initial
course.
casting and from walking through it. Yeah, she took a shitload of damage. Walked through like a superstar, makes her way all the way around. So she circumvents all of the goddamn skeletons, because most of them are dead by this time, too, to be fair.
And the fire's burning them. They're
Makes her way
taking
all the way around
smashes from
there to
Xander.
be there. Sverg I haven't talked about much because he's just been Ray of Flaming the other Bone Spare, trying to take care of it. Same
There
with
you go.
Quick.
Shout out
Quick
Zverg.
makes his way around as well. And at the end of it all, these three, Quick, Shaw, and Andromeda, put the finishing touches on the Bone Lord. He didn't have too much to go against combat. It was, again, it all depends on how it goes. He can summon creatures, and I was summoning creatures for him, but I couldn't summon them, damage them, and keep them from overwhelming me all at the same time. But because I was rolling so good, and because he had some pretty cool abilities, I ended up damaging all of them. All of them walked away with fucking at least 25 to 50% of their hit points gone. It was a
It's
good
a hard fought
fucking
battle.
battle. I know I just skimmed through it there, but yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. I was getting lucky with all those 20s. So what should have been just measly skeletons were actually hurting them and doing enough damage to pay attention to them. Yeah, well, all in all, it was a great battle. All of them performed really well throughout the entire dungeon. From there, they found the secret door, used the golden skull that dropped from the Bone Lord, went through. I just avoided that trap because I was a little fucking over traps at that point.
Yeah, well, they
They
probably
found
fucking murdered him.
places to go. They found enough treasure to get them to where they should be for a level. And then from there, I just magically skip them to the sanctuary. 'Cause that's been the plan for a while. And like I've said a few times, I just want to find out what they're doing next.
Yeah,
Which
of
brings us
course.
to now.
That's been the plan before the dungeon, is
Yeah.
just to see what they're doing next.
So first things first, the sanctuary is leaving the world.
Oh,
So
what?
that's their thing. Yeah, they're going back to the Lost Vale. They're not really
Oh,
telling anyone.
the
I haven't
unwritten
told the
map.
group yet because you're putting these out in the order that you are. They'll already know this by the time they hear this. But yeah, Sanctuary's leaving. They're going. They're fucking splintered. They got nothing left. There's
Was
no
this
way that
your
they can come
decision or
back.
their decision?
It's King Ash's decision. There's no point for them
Ah,
to stay. Like they're all their own people are back. Remember, they're refugees and they've been here for 300 years. There's actually a very few, but there are members living from the sanctuary that came over with Lancelot in the original coming over like 300
oh
plus years
shit. So
ago.
they're
And they want to go
OGs.
home. Yeah, so like there's people alive that remember somewhat where they came from. So he's
So
just taking back the people that don't want to do it anymore. And again, he's a despot, but he listens to his people.
yeah.
And they were like, fuck this place. We just about got annihilated by these humans. Those that want to stay can stay. We've made our mark on the world. Blah, blah. Let's get out of here. So
So
they're
you're
going
gonna
back to the Lost Vale.
so you're gonna create the map that was grayed out. The
Yeah,
section.
yeah.
Oh, can you bring up
Yeah,
that world
yeah.
map because this
But
is
only if they
important.
go there. But they only go there. Um, like, yeah, the group more than likely won't go there with these characters. There's no real reason for them to, unless they wish to like make their entire purpose to do
It's
it.
the
Like if they
northern
want to,
section
I
of the
won't
map.
stop them.
I want to say that's a good color, but there we
So that's
go.
great.
I asked about that in the very first time we
Yeah.
brought maps, like 6
So the
episodes ago.
sanctuary is where my mouse cursor is right now. This is
I'm
the path
covering it
through.
too on the screen.
Okay. So yeah, the path goes through here, and then that's how you get to Lost Vale.
Oh, it's going to be
I'll
like
give
one
you
of
a
those.
quick little rundown. This was the human area of it. This was the dwarven area of it, and this was the elven gnome area of it.
Oh,
I
they all
remember it
lived
like
near each other.
I I put a lot of detail. I hand drew those maps the first time I ever do them, so I remember a lot of it. And I do actually have a map of them on a previous
It
map of
reminds
Perennia
me of
that I can
like
refer to.
it reminds me of Conan Exiles because there was like a city or some kind of fortress inside like mountains or inside of the mountains or underground, and it kind of reminds me of that. Like it just how the map is built, but that's so cool. Like
There you
uh,
go.
there,
You see it?
yes,
There you go.
there it is, the Lost Vales. I've always
That's all you get.
wondered. You bitch.
That's all you get.
I got the recording
Next
though, so
time.
I can stare at the section. I'll go to 57 minutes and 50 seconds to see that one frame of the veils.
Fucking awesome. Okay, so yeah, that's basically where the sanctuary is going back to. Stage Sanctuary are going to stop being a thing. They might keep the name. I don't think so though, with no backing. So I get to come up with a new country name and I get to come up with a new country dynamic. But it's going to take them a little while
So
to get
the
there.
land
They have
stays,
to
the
make
people
some
don't.
stuff. Yeah, they are. They're also leaving in case fucking Galdrin or anyone else
But
wants to
I just
fuck
want to
with them.
know,
They're
like,
going super insular again.
are some
Basically,
people
that's
sticking
it.
around, or is everyone like every like sanctuary citizen leaving, or is some of them going to stay?
Well, Andromeda gets to take 6 of them with her, and they're getting all these magic items crafted, and then they're disappearing. And
Oh,
then when it's time to take those 6 back, King Ash is going to appear, and he's going to say, "See ya, it was real," and then they're going to be gone until something else happens. And then that'll be it. And
it'll
that's a
be a
full
new
cycle
era.
for the sanctuary. Came out for 300 years and went back home again. That's a vacation, I'll tell you. But they made their mark because now there's metahumans everywhere in Perennia. And I have my own unique backstory of how metahumans were introduced to the rest of the world.
It's
That's
interesting.
that's all me on that one. At least I had something original. Because like I said, most of these are ripoffs. So from there, yeah, I get to redesign this. I've already got a few ideas on where I want to take the States of Sanctuary, especially if the boys end up taking the island, which comes to what they're doing.
We
So
should
what they
have
are
an
doing.
episode talking
Now, if
about
I
this.
told you, if I told you that they wanted to capture giant eagles and giant otters, would you believe me?
They're going to
Because
Pokemon.
that's what they want to do, man.
They
Yeah,
want a
they're going full
Pokemon.
Pokemon. Fuck
Okay,
yeah.
let's do
Andromeda
it.
wants her own unique state forces. She wants to control land, sea, and air. So she's got
Ooh,
land with her own druid self and stuff she can
she's going to
summon.
become a bad
She's
guy.
got otter cavalry. She wants to have otter cavalry so she can use the rivers because there's so many rivers on the island. So yeah. Whoa, Jesus.
Andromeda's going to get drunk with power and abuse it, and then she's going to leave the party and become a bad guy.
Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, look at all those rivers. There's a shitload of rivers
That is
on
a
that place.
fucking
So the otters can
fuckload.
take full advantage of it.
All right. Well, hell yeah. So that's coming up.
Yeah.
This
So that's what we're gonna do. But
it,
before they do that, they want to go back to Fangorn to set everything up.
yeah, they need magic
So they're
items
gonna
and shit.
go. It's gonna be fun.
That'd be good
I
adventure.
don't know if they're gonna do it yet, but they could circumnavigate this continent for the first time ever. No one's ever done it because there was no pass here before. Someone had gone all the way around here before, you could do that because that's how you had to do it. But it's been lost to the mists of time, and it sure wasn't a player. But now they could be the first to go basically from here. They could go there, go all the way around here,
Well, hell yeah.
take their time doing it. It'll eat up a lot of time. They got 5 years to kill. But on the way, they want to stop at Fangorn to their own places, which allows me to set up the direction that Fangorn's going. Because Fangorn's becoming a druidic police state. And the
Yeah,
druidic
that's right.
power is slowly turning into sorceress power. They
Ooh,
are shedding the druidic ways and they are
yeah,
turning to high level
sorcerer.
wizardry because they were doing pacts with demons, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So they're
Makes
seeing
sense.
that the druidic magic's pretty good, but these demons are offering fucking like hell
Like
powers,
pseudo
right?
warlocks.
So each one is, and it's going to be a cool power struggle to see because not all the druids are going to go along with it, right?
I
It's going
want
to
the
be like this
politics.
secret, yeah, secret political druidic war that they're going to try their hardest not to get involved in
Give
because
me
it doesn't benefit
politics.
them. They got their own shit to do, but at least it's going to put in place what's going to happen in 5 years. Because rather than last time where all the countries were involved in something that kind of dealt with all of them in some way, like Sort and Galtrim were allies against the rest of the world, essentially. Now, this time, each country is going to have its own crisis. So there's going to
Ooh,
be a civil war in Galdrim, maybe, or a secession crisis, something along those lines. Northern kingdoms,
a
well,
civil
they're a
war would be
subjugated
good
country.
because they just had a big
Merchant states
war.
of Sort. We kind of touched on it last time, but remember, Sort's very insular, and they
Yeah.
keep their people controlled by letting them know that there's no life beyond the desert, so that they don't run away. So now they're going to have all
It's
these
like the
people because
M
they
Night
committed to
Shyamalan
the
The
watch.
Village.
Yeah, they committed to the watch. So now they're going to have soldiers going back and forth from Moody, and they're going to be saying, "Hey, there's a whole other world out there. It's cold as fuck, but there's a whole other world out there." And that's going to mess with their equilibrium.
That'd be
So then
pretty
they'll
cool.
have their own insurrection to deal with. And then the Empire Fangorn's going to be dealing with the Druid Sorcerer War. And the States of Sanctuary are going to be dealing with the fact that the leadership that everybody signed up for just disappeared off the face of the earth. So then there's going to be a small power struggle over this land right here.
There should be a civil war over Sanctuary, especially with all the inner turmoil. I feel like that would lead to a giant world war because they're fighting internal wars, but also fighting great wars, and that's what ends the civil wars within the territories, and then creates
There
like.
is no sanctuary. They have like 500 fighting men tops. That's all they got left. They got fucking annihilated in that war.
Well, I'm just saying like all these
Like, what do you mean?
lands get their people in the middle of their own civil war. They get them to go fight for the land of sanctuary because there's no people there anymore. It's fresh territory.
Oh yes, yeah, that's what I mean by power struggle. Yeah, we're saying the same shit. Yeah,
Oh,
I want
okay,
there to
okay.
be
I
a
just
power
worded it
struggle.
differently. That makes sense. Yeah,
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 because if
yeah.
there's a power struggle over that power vacuum, yeah, there's totally unclaimed land here. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the borders and move it to here. Because
Yeah.
this is technically where the world begins there. Sanctuary's gone. The 4 cities that they had there are now literal ruins that I can keep forever in my world. So I have ruined
And then
cities
you
that
can
I'm going to
create
keep.
dungeons and quests out of that shit.
Oh, the merchant band that's operating out of the ruins of so and so. Like I can do that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Because there will be a
Or the
population
refugee
explosion.
camp.
Yeah, well, people are going to be escaping the northern kingdoms. And this
Oh
time it's not to
yeah.
raid, it's to escape. Like the northern kingdoms are now a subjugated place. King Alaric is in retreat. He's still a rebel, but he can't get the upper hand because he just has no backing. So he's a king in exile, essentially. Yeah, it's going to be interesting times for Perennia. I think it's going to be fun doing the next 5 years because if they isolate themselves on the fucking island with no news from the outside world, the impact of each individual thing will be more.
Oh hell yeah! I just want to say, like, it makes sense after a giant like war against them. There's a lot of inner turmoil because there's a lot of gaps to fill, a lot of repairs, a lot of people upset with how things are repairing, rebuilding, and fixing themselves. People are not going to be happy with how it's implemented, so there's going to be a lot of political fighting, a lot of inner fights, and then the fact that Sanctuary is going to go bye bye. And when the news spreads about that, they're like, "Oh, there's no one there controlling it anymore." Well, in order for us to be a strong nation, we should go lay claim to some of Sanctuary. And then there becomes a giant world war that ends all this inner struggle because they need to focus on the war. That's just a suggestion.
Well, I just want to know what I should call the next. Because if the state's sanctuary's gone, what do I call that chunk of land now? That's what I'm wondering.
Uh, well,
The
it would
free
be.
cities, the free cities of the north, Freeman, something like that. Because they'd want to. They've got the trade city of Kirill.
It should be called the Sanctuary Freeland, like Freeland to Sanctuary, because it's still Sanctuary. It's just they're gone. The people's gone. It's still the land
So
of.
keep the name, even though the people that made. I like that too.
It's like
Where
the
did
free the
sanctuary
free
come from?
states of the
Well,
free state of Sanctuary because it's a free state now. It's what it's really
okay,
considered.
you talked me into it. I like
Yeah.
it.
And it will turn into something else, obviously, when we get to the point where someone actually controls the territory or a bloody battle. You know what I mean? Someone memorializes the land with the bloody battle name. It's going to change, but since they're going to go bye bye, it should be called Free States, a sanctuary. It
I
just
like
makes
it.
sense, yeah. But damn, I guess we could wrap this up. Hour and 6 minutes, 5 sessions. But it was a lot of combat, like you said.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been. I think it wouldn't have been as interesting to say it over 2 shows.
Yeah.
I think it's more interesting to just do a whole dungeon so people get the whole idea of what
Uh,
one is.
unless you had a lot more
I
role
never know what
play.
people want to know.
Yeah.
They never treated it like a dungeon crew would teach a dungeon. They treated it like
A regular
what's
battle.
around each corner. They had no thief to search for traps. They never searched for traps.
Hey,
Stealth was very limited because of the whole door aspect and the fact that all undead could see in the dark, so you're not getting the drop on them
I'd say
unless you go invisible.
they operated more like an MMO than a D&D group, but that's
Yeah.
because their party composition. But
I love it because they're not a Dungeoneers. That was the first one they'd ever done. So the fact that they did all that stuff and didn't treat it like they'd been
uh-oh.
with that made it very endearing.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Oh,
Oh
sorry.
shit.
It made it very endearing
Okay, yeah,
to see them treat it normally
I
and not
liked it.
like they were like experienced Dungeoneers, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, I agree. I agree. It the way they played it, how they operated, how you built the dungeon, it was very suspenseful, and I like how you delivered the combat in like in a way where you're not giving a lot of numbers, but you're giving key roles because they're memorable. I think it's a good flow.
Yeah.
But I guess we can call it here. Hour, eight
Yeah.
minutes,
Yeah, I gotta go terminate some
and
children
20
anyways.
seconds. All right.